Roughly 170,000 children and teens are served by 41 boys and girls clubs across our Bay State. I'm Jenny Johnson for Comcast Newsmakers here in Suffolk University's downtown Boston studio, and I'm joined today by Rick Metters, Executive Director of the Massachusetts Alliance of Boys and Girls Clubs, who will share the impact the Positive Place for Kids has on its members and their futures. Hey Rick, it's great to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
So first off, what distinguishes the Boys and Girls Clubs from other youth organizations?
I think there's a few characteristics that distinguish us. One, we're a safe place where kids can learn and grow. Two, we have trained professional staff. We have full-time leadership. But I think the two key distinguishing characteristics are, one, that the relationships our staff form with the kids. Kids are in school for maybe, a few years, maybe not in the same school, maybe their family situations are difficult, but we're the one constant in their lives. And the other thing that's critically important to know for folks is that our dues and fees are low so that any child can afford to be a part of our programs.
Two very important things. Now let's break it down a little bit more specifically. There are 41 clubs across the state. Will observers see similar programs in all of the clubs?
I think all the clubs are committed to impact, and so there's some common program areas that all of them share. Educational enhancement programs, health and fitness programs for kids, which are critically important now, and also character and leadership development. We want to make sure that our kids have traits to become positive, constructive adults.
Well, it's great that there are some that happen across the board, but something very interesting that the Boys and Girls Club do is you actually work specifically within the communities to create programs that work based on the community needs. Tell us about some of those things.
Yeah, clubs are very well established, but I think they're also very organic in terms of dealing with grassroots issues that impact the communities we're in. The needs in Lawrence might be different from the needs in the kids in Edgartown. The kids in Ludlow might have a different situation than the kids in Plymouth. And so our clubs are very adept at addressing those needs and making sure that we're really focusing in on what kind of impact we need to make in our communities.
So it's interesting. People, I know people in my life, your life, our viewers, people associate themselves with the Boys and Girls Club for their entire lives. How do you explain that?
As a kid, I didn't have a Boys and Girls Club. So it was something that I grew to understand and to love, frankly. I walked into a club in 1989, and here we are a few decades later. My daughter will be walking into a club to join for the first time today, literally. It gets in your blood. I think it's because of those relationships, those connections that you make with your fellow staff, with volunteers, with the boards, with people in the community. I think that's a real distinguishing characteristic. The roots run very deep.
So you didn't start as a child, but you have been here for 2 decades?
A wicked long time.
A wicked long
time, my kids tell me. In fact, the woman who succeeded me as director of the Woburn organization was one of my former club kids who joined the club when it was the boys' club. In fact, I had to kick her out of the building because she was at the club on a boys' day. And now here we are, 20 plus years later. She was a Youth of the Year at our club, became State Youth of the Year, and now she's the director of the club.
What have you seen? You have 3 kids that are now part of the Boys and Girls Club. What impact have you seen with them?
I think for each one there's a little bit of a difference in terms of what their club experience is, because each one of them brings unique passions and talents and whatnot. My oldest son loves to play basketball. He's involved in the Torch Club, the middle school leadership group. My middle son is a big follower of Build It, which is a science program, an architecture design program. And my youngest, I'm sure it will be the arts for her. Aww. She's a performer.
That's wonderful. Well, it's nice to know that there is something for everyone. Now, tell me about how people go about supporting the Boys and Girls Club.
Well, I think the big thing is to connect with your club locally. If you see that building, see the sign, connect with the club. Take a tour of the club. Pop on by. In addition, there's ways of connecting with us online. You can go to our website, bgcmass.org. Follow us at Twitter, BGCMass, Facebook, BGCMass. Learn more about the clubs, contribute to the clubs, support the clubs. There's all sorts of folks, thousands a year, who contribute their talents and their dollars to making this organization work.
Well, Rick, thank you so much for sharing your perspective and all the work you do for the Boys and Girls Clubs. And I'm Jenny Johnson for Comcast Newsmakers. Thanks for joining us.